to today's live IELTS class. My name is Adrian and I'm streaming to you from beautiful Budapest, where the weather has finally gotten quite sunny just today. Hi Hina, hi Maksud, hi Bisser, nice to see many of our members in the class already. Hi Priyanka, hi Khyber, hi Sukhmeen, nice to see many of our regular students. I hope everybody is having a great start to this week, staying healthy and strong, and looking forward to a productive and successful week ahead. Students, in this class we are learning for the speaking section, specifically speaking part 1, and I will give you some instructions on how to speak clearly for that band 9 English score in the exam. And while we wait for some more of your peers, this lesson is brought to you by aehelp.com. For academic IELTS success, please visit us there. And for the general IELTS, check us out at gieltshelp.com. On both of these websites, we have loads and loads of materials for you. As well, you can get our apps, Academic IELTS Help. You can link that to the aehelp.com account. Of course, you can get that from your Google Play or Apple App Store. And General IELTS Help app, which links to your gieltshelp.com account. Also, I'm doing great, Maksud. Thank you for asking. Bisser, 7 days to prepare. It's time to get busy, get excited. Absolutely. Stay calm. Don't be too nervous. Bisser, a really important tip, and this is for everybody who has exams coming up. I know many of you do. So make sure that you do a couple of full-timed practice exams before your official exam. So if you have your exam coming up next week on Friday, this week you should do at least 2-3 full-time practice exams where you sit the whole 3 hours. It's a really, really good idea. And also, don't do full practice exams right before your official exam, because that will fatigue your mind. So be careful, be strategic. All right, everyone. So if you have questions about strategy for the test, for questions and so on about our products, just send me an email to adrian@aehelp.com. Eugen, I'm doing fantastic, even a little bit better now that I see that cowboy, panda, smiley, happy, wavy emoji that you've sent me. Students, this is the start of this week's live classes. So we are on the 17th, and we will have classes every day going forward until the 20th. Live classes are 13:30 and 15 o'clock according to Central European time. This class, of course, on Wednesday starts at 15 o'clock, but tomorrow we'll have 13:30 start time for members, and tomorrow we'll start with a task 2 for members. Of course, everybody is welcome to watch, and then reading, and then more classes throughout the week. So that's what we will be doing. All right, so we'll get into strategy. I'll give you a little bit more hints and tips about speaking as we go along, but let's just start warming up our speaking in this class. There's lots of you in the class now, so remember that this is a speaking class, okay? So make sure to speak and repeat. It's great that you're watching, it's great that you're typing, but very importantly, speak, okay? And repeat what you hear. Repeat questions, repeat answers, especially repeat new words, write them down, okay? One of the ways to speak clearly and fluently is to do a lot of work with repetition. So focusing on listening to native speakers, clear conversation, and then repeating verbatim as much as possible. Verbatim means word for word. So that's verbatim repetition. Okay, all right. So just throw some warm-up questions. Practice these lots. I know they might get boring after a while, but you will be asked these questions. They will be your first chance to show your pronunciation, your fluency, and of course these are the introductory questions here. So I'll enlarge this a tiny bit more for convenience. So the examiner will start off with, welcome to the speaking portion of the IELTS exam. My name is Adrian, and I'm going to be your examiner for the speaking portion of the test. I will record it for marking purposes. What is your full name? Okay, what is your full name? So again, I know you hear this lots, but this is an official situation, so practice it in many ways. Practice your pronunciation. Make this one really clear and good. All right. Jaineel says, my family name is Gabani and my given name is Jaineel. Please call me Jay for short. All right, Jaineel, that works. So Jay is definitely short for Jaineel. That's a kind of a cool nickname. Jay is actually used as a short for lots of names in English as well, like Jason, John, and many names starting with J. They'll say, call me Jay for short. Okay, so it's a common short nickname for many names in English. Musafir Hoon says, my full name is Prashant Koshar, and you can just call me Prashant. And which one's your first and which one's your last name? That would be pretty good to know, or family name. So you might want to be a little bit clearer on that, Musafir. It's not bad, but the more clarity, the better. Okay? Keep in mind, students, the IELTS examiner is a stranger. They know nothing about you, and they might actually be from a different culture as well in many cases, so they might not know everything about your culture. They might be new to your country. Okay? So you have to be very clear. All right? Khyber Moman says, I'm Khyber Momand. You can call me by my first name, Khyber. That works really well, Khyber, because that makes it clear that Momand, of course, would be your family name. Very good. So, what is your full name? Again, students, this is warm-up time, so lots of repetition. Again, speak and repeat. Even if you're more advanced in English and you're like, well, I know this sentence, try to repeat my pronunciation and intonation. I'm speaking at a very natural speed right now. So what is your full name? My given name is Jason, and my surname is Matthews. Please just call me Jay for short. Okay? So you can use that nice expression when you're taking a short form, and one letter is about as short as we can get from your given name. So one more time, what is your full name? My given name is Jason and my surname is Matthews. Please just call me Jay for short. All right, Jay. Can I see your identification? That's the next question coming up. Of course, can I see your identification? Make sure to bring the same ID that you used to register for the exam. That's what they want to see because they're going to match it with their own registration paper. Bisser said, sure, this is my passport, which I used for registration. Please take a look. It's very good, Bisser. Nazir says, here's my passport, which I used for registering for this exam. Please take a look. Nazir, careful with the word form on registration. So here's my passport, which I used to register for this exam. Please take a look. Students, be really careful not to make any grammatical or language mistakes in these first couple of questions, because that will definitely set the tone for a lower band score. Okay, Hina says, yes, of course, here's my passport that I used to register. Please have a look. Again, Hina, also careful. Okay, all right, moving along. Ravinder Singh says, yes, sure, this is my passport. Here you go. That's nice and to the point. Again, be expressive here, okay? Lambda Discover says, yes, of course, this is my passport I used to register for this exam. Lambda, always finish your sentence. So students, the speaking part of the IELTS exam is not where you want to cut pieces of the sentence. Okay, I know we do that in everyday conversation, but you don't want to do that on the exam. Zakra Al-Najjar is asking, can I just say, of course? You can, Zakra, but again, it's not a good idea to keep your response too short. because it is an official situation. You're not just meeting with your buddy. Okay, even myself, so when I'm traveling and let's say I'm going back to Canada and I'm going through customs, when a customs officer asks me, may I see your passport, I usually give a full sentence. So yes, of course, here you are, please have a look. Or yes, here's my passport, there you go. So I don't just say yes, of course. That's a bit awkward in an official situation. You might say that to your friend, but not so much when somebody's in a position of authority. So careful with that, okay? So you can answer short, but I don't recommend it, okay? You can still get a good mark if you answer short and then you do really well on the other parts of the test, but for your own confidence and fluency, why not show nice, coherent, and complete answers right away? Okay, I think it's a good idea. So you can say, certainly, here is my passport that I used to register for the exam. Please have a look. Okay. And remember that even though the IELTS examiners are trained to be professional and have a very clear structure to their questions, if you're speaking to them politely, professionally, and in complete sentences, they will also reflect that in their communication because that's inherent in humans, okay? So it's in us that when we speak to another person in a clear, coherent, complete way, they tend to respond better as well, okay? So communicators build on each other's coherence and fluency. The more coherent and complete your answers, the better the examiner will be. Even though they're awesome anyway, they'll be even that much better. All right, keep that in mind. Okay, and then another warm-up question here. So, where do you live? That's a common icebreaker. So the examiner will say, okay, I'll ask you a couple of questions to get to know you better for part one, and then some questions on a general topic. So a very common icebreaker question is, where do you live? Okay, it's very common to get that one, so make sure you're ready for it. All right. Abdul Bori Saidazimov says, I live in a 4-bedroom apartment with my parents and siblings in the capital of Uzbekistan, one of the most spectacular and beautiful conurbations in my country. Okay, conurbations? Well, that's a new word for me, I'd have to say. But if that's a word, sure, yeah. I would say spectacular and beautiful metropolitans in the country. Metropolitan is commonly used to mean a larger city. Okay, especially Tashkent, which is the capital. Abdul Borim, you might use that word as well. You might say, I live right here in the capital, which is Tashkent. Okay, all right. So being specific, students, is always a good idea. All right. Bisser says, I live in a 3-bedroom flat in Ashenovgrad, which is a middle-sized town in central Bulgaria. All right. Bisser, nice. Clear to the point. Good. Yeah, for this question, students, it's a good idea to include your residence, like where you're actually staying, your home. It's a house, it's a flat or an apartment, a condo, okay, townhouse. So it's good to include that, plus the actual city or district potentially as well. Okay, so it's kind of like giving somebody your address starting with your residence. Okay, and now don't give your address, so be more natural, but that's the idea. All right. Okay. So lots of great answers as I'm kind of scrolling through the chat. That's fantastic. Sammy says, I live in a 3-bedroom apartment along with my wife near to the beach in a city called Chennai in the southern part of India. Very nice, Sammy. Very visual, so I can literally see your coastal residence, okay? Because you're telling me that you live near the beach in India. It's very visual. Visual language gets great marks. Remember that, students. Visual language gets great marks. Humans are visual. We like to see what we hear, okay? Irene Domingo says, I live in a semi-detached house in the northern part of Singapore, which is Punggol, with my family. It has 3 cozy bedrooms with a spacious living room. Irene, that's a really nice answer. Fantastic. Again, good descriptive words, nice natural use of language, all right? So, I live in a 2-bedroom flat near the Danube River in the heart of Budapest, which of course is the capital of the country of Hungary. All right, now let's take a look at that for a second. So I almost said city there, and instead I then quickly changed it to country. Students, pauses and mistakes are okay in speaking. You can still even get a band 9 if you pause, if you say or if you make a mistake or two. It's not the end of the world, especially if you correct yourself, okay? So correcting yourself is natural. A band 9 in the IELTS exam does not mean that you're speaking perfectly like a robot, okay? That basically does not exist in the world. And yes, students do get band 9s in speaking, and a lot of non-native English speakers will get band 9s in speaking as well. And guess what? They will make some mistakes in their speaking. It's okay, as long as you correct. But of course, they do express themselves very clearly. They give complete, accurate answers, use a wide range of grammar and lexical resource. So there is a lot to it, but the point here is that you can make a mistake and still get very high bands and even a band 9. All right, so repeat after me. Where do you live? I live in a 2-bedroom flat near the Danube River in the heart of Budapest, which of course is the capital of the country of Hungary. All right. Here's an IELTS question that was actually asked a couple of IELTS ago in some parts of the world. What public places are near your home? Okay, so even these icebreakers are kind of scripted for the examiners. And this was a question in an IELTS exam not so long ago. What public places are near your home? Shiro Jidin says, there are several destinations near my home, and the most popular one is the Hotel Meridian, which is the highest and most crowded place in Termez. In addition, there's a football stadium just 2 blocks away. All right, Shirojidi, not bad. However, several destinations. Destination is not the best paraphrase for public places. Okay, there's a couple different ways to say public places. Destination, it's not bad, but it's definitely not the best way to paraphrase. Okay. All right. Let's see. Abhishek says, there are a couple of social places near my apartment, such as a recreation park for a walk or playground, Gandhi Ashram, and a civic center near my vicinity. Okay, Abhishek, not bad. Again, it's good. Social places has a different meaning usually. Social places would be places where people gather to be in a crowd and communicate with each other. Coffee shops, restaurants, dance clubs, those would be social places, not necessarily public places. Okay, public places are places where people can go without having to pay. So they're owned by the government. They're not private. Okay, so a couple of different ways to say that, but you have to be careful. Students, if you're not sure what's another way to say public place, then remember what I said in the past few speaking lessons. Anybody remember that? What was my very important tip that I gave you a couple of times in the last few weeks with these warm-up questions, these icebreakers? While you think about that and answer that, I'll take a look at a couple more. Alves says there are 2 public places nearby my house, a public hospital and a park where I usually go for a walk on weekends. In fact, I was just there last Saturday taking in the fresh air. Alves, that's really good, and you've actually done exactly what I'm hinting at. So Alves did exactly what I suggested in the past couple of classes. And Roshni, very good, Roshni Kunte says use the same words. Okay, you can paraphrase and get fancy later on, and it's a good idea. But in the beginning, just to be on the safe side and to sound clear and accurate, use the same words. Okay, don't try to get fancy with paraphrasing, especially if you're not sure. So again, I'm just going to remind you of this important little note here. So for the icebreaker questions, it is a good strategy to use the same words that are in the question in order to avoid sounding awkward and making mistakes. Okay, so you can and you should paraphrase later on, okay? But just for the sake of clarity and confidence, make sure you don't do that, because sometimes students realize later that they didn't paraphrase correctly and they're like, oh, I was already making mistakes, and then they kind of stress out for the next questions. So in order to avoid that, just say there are a few different public places. Now, if you really want, instead of places, you could have said facilities, for example. Or you could have said venues. Okay, those are good ways to paraphrase places in this case. But there are a few different public places around my flat, including a big park where I take my daughter to play, as well as a running track where I jog in the morning. In fact, I just went for a nice run before coming to this exam. Okay? All right. So again, avoid mistakes, use the same word. Here we go, students. So repeat after me. What public places are near your home? There are a few different public places around my flat, including a big park where I take my daughter to play, as well as a running track where I jog in the morning. In fact, I just went for a nice run before coming to this exam. All right. Now, you probably shouldn't go for a run right before your exam, but the day before might be a good idea to get a good night's sleep. Okay? All right. So then the examiner will say, all right, now let's talk about holiday time. So in just a moment, we'll talk about holiday time. But before I get into talking about holiday time, one of the ways to build clear and fluent language is to do a lot of practice. And I'm going to show you where you can do that for free. So I just made the screen a little bit darker so you can see this. Okay, so this is our academic IELTS website here at aehelp.com. You can join the premium course by clicking that big red button, or you can try the course for free, and there's a lot of materials for free, videos and so on, by clicking the green button. And when you click the green button, you'll have a My Student account, just like a full course user. And there you will find computer-based practice tests, videos, and many, many other functions, as well as a student partner speaking function, okay? And this is absolutely free. There's no catch. There's no limit. You can use it all day, every day. In fact, I recommend using it as much as possible. So you click on that, and you can use this on your phone as well, of course. It's responsive. Then it will ask you to accept our conditions, which means that you'll be nice with other students and speak respectfully, and you should be at least 18 years old. And then you accept that. Of course, don't share personal information like your address and so on. And then you will see some other people in here waiting for somebody to practice IELTS and practice these conversations. We can see Pooja, Sammy, Shohaib, they're in here. And it looks like there's actually quite a few other people in here right now. That's great. I think some of you are actually in the live class as well. So you have some instructions here. Say hello text first, then ask to video or audio chat. If you don't have a good connection, try somebody else, try again. It's quite stable. I know many of you are using it already. And then you can choose questions here: objects, people, places, events. And these are standard IELTS scripts. So it's absolutely free for everyone. And of course, for general IELTS students, you have the same. It's a green background. Already somebody is trying to connect with me here. That's why that popped up. So you have the green background here. You can click that big red button to join the premium package, or the green one to try it for free and use that chat option. Okay. Once you join the chat, keep the window open. Guarantee you that within a couple minutes, somebody will ping you, as they're doing right now with me. And you'll be able to have a nice conversation with some IELTS questions. Keep it professional and practice lots. So that's one of the most important steps to doing a great job. Don't be shy. Practice with a lot of different people with different English accents. I'm just going to brighten up our day here. So if you're in Uzbekistan and you find somebody from India, that's great. Okay. I'm always a little bit, I don't want to say upset, but maybe a little bit disappointed when people complain about other countries' accents. Like they're like, oh, I can't understand people from India, or oh, I can't understand people from Russia. Well, English has a lot of different accents too: Canadian, American, Southern American, British, Australian, Kiwi. So there's a big range, and it's important to train your ear to listen for a variety of accents around the world, because that will make you that much more communicative in the actual exam as well. There's no guarantee that you're going to have a British person doing the speaking interview. You could have somebody from the US, or you could have somebody from India with a slight Indian accent, okay? So careful with that, okay? So practice with a variety of different people and train your ears for different accents in English, okay? It's very, very important. Don't complain about accents. Get used to them, all right? Okay, so students, let's get back to point here. We'll get into more of these questions. Now, in order to speak clean and clear English, definitely practice phonetics. Does everybody know what that means? That word, phonetics? Kyber says, I have a West Coast accent because of you, sir. That's good, Kyber. West Coast accent is actually quite clear and easy to understand. Okay. So, just a quick tip for those of you who aren't familiar with this. So, in order to speak English clearly, practice phonetics. Okay. The pronunciation of sounds and syllables in English. Okay, like for example, TH as the th sound, okay? Or another one would be CH as the ch sound, okay? Now, I'm not going to get into a huge phonetics lesson here for you, but if this word is kind of new for you, or if you're like, oh yeah, phonetics, I remember hearing that way back when I started learning English, then it's time for you to Google and practice phonetics. Okay, so definitely in the weeks leading up to your next IELTS exam. Give 10 to 15 minutes each day to practice phonetics drills. Okay, just Google that, right? And you'll find lots of great little exercises that show you the position of the tongue, the teeth, the mouth, where the air comes from. And don't be shy. I know sometimes people say, phonetics are so hard and I can never make the th sound. Yes, you can. It just takes practice, okay? Just like soccer drills, there are language drills, and you can do this. So speak cleanly, practice phonetics. All right, just 10 to 15 minutes is enough. Okay, and then adapt it, pay attention to it. Here we go. So part one, let's talk about holiday time. Again, I want you to speak and repeat, everyone. So speak, repeat. Here we go. How much time off do you have from school or work? Give me a nice full sentence. Answer for this one. Remember, answer, explain, example. Okay. Hina Arshad says, as I'm working full-time, I have 30 days off from work annually to energize and boost myself. Definitely these days of rest help me a lot to perform well at work, and I really love it. And I really look forward to them, Hina, and I really look forward to them. Okay, when we anticipate, when we wait for our holidays to come about, we're looking forward to our holidays. We usually don't say boost myself, Hina. That's a little bit awkward. Boost my energy, okay? Don't repeat yourself, Hina. So just boost my energy or energize myself, one or the other. You don't need both, all right? So as I'm working full time, I have 30 days off from work annually to energize myself. Definitely these days of rest help me to perform better at work, and I look forward to them. Okay, Hina? That would be the nice, clear, accurate answer. Also, Hina, as I'm working full time, the as replaces the so before the comma. Okay? Virender Singh says, I am working as a security officer from Monday to Friday, so I have the weekends off from my work as well. I'm off after 5 in the evening. Okay. That's okay for answering how much time off do you have from work or school, because I suppose your weekend and your evenings, they are time off, Verinder. However, be careful because the examiner is introducing the topic holiday time. So even if you start by explaining when you're not working, your schedule, you should definitely switch into answering your holiday time as well. So I have 3 days holiday each year. I have 3 months, but you need to answer that question. That's why they're introducing their topic. So make sure to stay on topic. It's very, very important, okay? This question's definitely not just focusing on your work hours. Being accurate is so important, okay? Pooja says, it's quite rare that I find some time to take off from my study schedule as my IELTS exam is around the corner, but I still manage to take a day or two in the week to relax and catch my breath. Okay, Pooja, a couple of corrections there near the end to make it sound a little bit more natural. Hassan Sadiq says, the company that I'm working with frequently gives me 2 weeks holidays every 3 months on a regular basis. I think these vacations are important to reduce stress from the hectic construction work. Okay, Hassan, that's good. Another way to say every 3 months, Hassan, is quarterly. Okay, so of course there are 3 months in the year, so we can say quarterly, because there's 4 of them, quarterly. Or if it's every 6 months, then it's semi-annually. Okay, so half a year, semi-annually, 4 times, which is every 3 months, is quarterly. All right, it's commonly expressed that way. All right, otherwise very nice answer, Hassan. Seni Surani says, mostly I had a 1 month holiday during the summer from June to July, which I can arrange to have informal lessons that are different from my regular school curriculum, like cooking or craft classes. Okay, Seni Surani, you don't need to repeat classes, okay? Because the adjectives will modify the single noun class. Otherwise, very good. Okay, you're very welcome, Hassan. Boomy Shutbar says, honestly, I usually get 15 days off during the summer and winter annually. That help me unwind from my monotonous work. Last winter, I went to Mount Abu to recharge my batteries for 7 days. So I guess that's fully. Okay, so in the full year, you have 15 days off. Rajveer Singh says, I usually have 2 days off from my work each week on Saturdays and Sundays. I usually go out on small excursions with my friends, which helped me to decompress. Very nice, Rajveer. So full sentence answer, students. Answer, explain, example. Okay. So each year I get 30 days for holiday from my company, other than, of course, my Saturdays and Sundays, which I usually spend with my family. My time off helps me rejuvenate, and for my longer holiday, I usually take a trip abroad. Last winter, I went to Austria for some great alpine skiing. All right. So again, answer, explain, example, show fluency, and you will get a great mark. Of course, making good connections as well. So repeat after me. Here we go, students. How much time off work do you have from school or work? Each year I get 30 days for holiday from my company, other than, of course, my Saturdays and Sundays, which I usually spend with my family. My time off helps me rejuvenate, and for my longer holiday, I usually take a trip abroad. Last winter, I went to Austria for some great alpine skiing. Rejuvenate is the technical verb for recharging your batteries. Okay, so kush, rejuvenate, means to get back your energy and your health. All right. Rejuvenate, and of course it has lots of different forms like rejuvenation for the noun form. All right, next question. Do you prefer to travel or stay at home on your holiday? Do you prefer to travel or stay at home? Rifa Afifa says, of course I prefer to travel. Let me find your comment again in our chat, Rifa. It was a good start. So Rifa says, of course I prefer to travel because it helps to remove my monotonous and make me relaxed. Monotonous is an adjective, Rifa, so you need a noun after that. Let me try to fix that up a bit, Rifa. So of course I prefer to travel because it helps me get rid of my monotonous work experience and helps me unwind. On the other hand, I can also learn a lot of new information by visiting foreign cultures and places. All right, Rifa, always find a word better than things. Okay, things is a zero value word. You learn information. You don't learn things. Okay. All right, Chandra Noav, hi in Cambodia. Nice of you to join the class. Here we go. Some more answers. Dil showed. Umar Hayev. Due to the quarantine, I'm not working right now. However, at the time when I was working, I used to have 2 weeks off for a vacation or holiday each year. Okay. So you have a lot more time off right now, maybe, Dilshad, and you're spending it at home. Also express that clearly. Okay? All right. Thuraya Shakir says, well, sometimes I just simply like to stay at home and relax. Other times I go out with my friends and watch a movie or go to a restaurant to eat. Too general, Thuraya. You're not really answering the question, do you prefer to travel or stay at home on your holiday? You're answering the question, what do you like to do in your free time? Students, this question is not what do you like to do in your free time. It's more specific than that. It's very, very important that you pay very careful attention to the subject of part 1 when they introduce it. Now, in some exams, the subject will change. So they'll introduce a couple different subjects, but each subject will have 2 to 3 questions. Okay? And sometimes you'll have just that one subject that they'll keep going at. Okay? So the subject here is holiday time. It's not your free time. It's not your hobby time. It's not your time after work or school. It's your holiday time. Holiday time refers more to that longer period of time in the year that people take to do something a little bit more adventurous or more relaxing, even if it's at home. So make sure you focus on that. Otherwise, you'll lose band scores, okay? Thuraya, the examiner will not give a very good mark for that, okay? All right. Let's see. Rangana says, although I like to travel on my holidays, hundreds, if not thousands, of household chores are waiting for me to be completed whenever I have time off. All right, Rangana, that's a negative question, but I would stick with the positive more if you're going to say that. So Rangana, I would say, although I like to travel on my holidays, I have thousands of household chores waiting for me. Nevertheless, this summer I am planning to go with my family to the northern part of the country. Okay. All right. Sure. So making connections is good. Here's my answer. So reflecting on my previous answer, where I mentioned skiing, I definitely like to go on adventures for my holidays. However, due to the recent pandemic, this has become difficult and less desirable. Nevertheless, I'm planning to do some more exploring locally in Hungary this summer, visiting places that I've never been, like kayaking on the Tisa River. All right. So again, use your context, your real world context. I'm sure that a lot of us will experience very different holiday adventures in this year than we usually had, just because international or continental travel has become a lot more difficult. So it seems like many of us will be doing a lot more local traveling around our own country. And it's good to visualize that and express that, okay? Bisser, I caught you correcting things there, which is good. Okay, so here we go. Repeat after me. Do you prefer to travel or stay at home on your holiday? Reflecting on my previous answer where I mentioned skiing, I definitely like to go on adventures for my holidays. However, due to the recent pandemic, this has become difficult and less desirable. Nevertheless, I'm planning to do some more exploring locally in Hungary this summer, visiting places that I've never been, like kayaking on the Tisa River. Now, notice how I'm using the present perfect. I've never been, okay, because I'm showing expectation. One of the reasons we use present perfect is to emphasize my expectation or my lack of experience in this case as well. I'm making a connection to my previous answer. So obviously, if I said that I went alpine skiing last winter, then that means I'm a bit of an adventure seeker. So I like to go away for my holidays. So why not make that connection? It helps me build fluency and add clarity. Okay. Now, of course, I'm using connective words, however, and I'm avoiding repetition. So here I'm using nevertheless. Okay. Lots of connections. All right. And using present context. So sounding original, not like I memorized my answers. All right. Okay. So let's keep going, students. I'll try to catch different students' responses at different times. So just keep going. And again, remember, this is speaking. So I really want you to speak and repeat. Next question. Who do you like to spend your holidays with? Okay, who do you like to spend your holidays with? Give me a nice full sentence answer for that one. Mohinur Shatrova says, I like spending my holidays with my mother because I can talk with her. I can't talk with her on other days. She's open-minded, and I always share my secrets and challenges with her. Okay, Mohinur, very good. Careful with missing words. I like spending my holidays. Don't miss the subject. Students, always make sure to include the subject into your answer, okay, Mohinur? So I like spending my holidays with my mother because I can't talk with her on other days. She's open-minded. Now, if you say something, Mohinur, like I can't talk with her on other days, you should say why. Okay, you should say that I'm too busy with work and school and it leaves me very little time to contact her. So make it clear because your listener doesn't know that information, all right? So fill in the blanks, students. Always make sure to make it clear why. Okay, Botir Raksmatov says, I have many friends who enjoy to celebrate holidays together with me. As a result, I usually go with them somewhere abroad or to another city. For example, a summer festival or concert. Last year we went to Edgefest in Vancouver. I've been there. That's a music festival. So Botir, it's a good answer, but the second part of what you're saying is just a repetition of the first part. So students, don't repeat yourselves, okay? Always give new information. Answer, explain, example. Don't answer and repeat. Okay. Maksud says, Mr. Adrian, what if we use a challenging word that's unknown for the examiner? Very good question. Okay. So I'll take a moment for that, Maksud. So Maksud is asking, what happens if I use a difficult or technical word that the examiner may not understand? Okay. Sure. Maksud, that's a very good question. So the answer is, because some of you have areas of specialties in engineering, in biology, chemistry, physics, and perhaps you know some English words that become useful in your speaking interview, which may be unfamiliar for your examiner, okay? Now, what do you think you should do? So let me ask you a question here, and then we'll get back to these questions. So what do you think you should do if that happens? Let's see. Who's thinking critically? What do I do when I introduce a new word that I feel many students might not know? So what is my technique to making sure that, and you'll probably realize I do it very often once I say this, but what's my technique? So what is natural in conversation? You do this in your own language, by the way, as well. So Sammy Rocky says, explain it. Samuel says, explain it in a simple and concise way. Yeah, absolutely. Or put another way, you paraphrase it, right? So answer is you should paraphrase it. Okay. So, for example, in order to teach IELTS well, it is important to have a background in psychometrics, which of course is the science of measuring human thinking and behavior. That is because the English language is a type of behavior expressed for communication. All right? Of course, the new word that I'm introducing to some of you here is what's called psychometrics. And psychometrics is the science of measuring human thinking and human behavior. Okay, it's statistical, it's mathematical, it's not so much philosophical, and there's definitely a standard way of doing it. All right, so you paraphrase, you roll into it, and it's nice to do that. So it is a good technique, Maksud. Don't be shy to use words that you know accurately, which might be new for the examiner. I recommend it. Okay. All right. Getting back to the question, who do you like to spend your holidays with? Pachuya Dove says, I like to spend my holidays with my family because it gives me pleasure and a sense of responsibility to travel with them. Most of the time, my family is busy with work and my children are in school, so they're very happy when we get to experience going abroad and visiting new places, historical sites and monuments. Yeah. So I most enjoy spending my holidays with my wife and daughter, as it not only gives me a chance to bond with them, but also to revel in our mutually shared fun and excitement when visiting places such as Venice back in 2019 summer. All right. It was loads of fun watching my 3-year-old little girl run around the narrow streets of the city. This is actually true, so I wrote the whole answer here for you. Repeat after me. Who do you like to spend your holidays with? I most enjoy spending my holidays with my wife and daughter, as it not only gives me a chance to bond with them, but also to revel in our mutually shared fun and excitement when visiting places such as Venice back in 2019 summer. It was loads of fun watching my 3-year-old little girl run around the narrow streets of the city. Okay, so of course that's a very fluent, high-level Band 9 answer. It's visual. So all I'm doing to create an answer like this is taking a page from my experiences. I'm visualizing the situation, and I'm thinking answer, explain, example, and then I'm building my vocabulary and my fluency around it. Okay, now this is a Band 9 plus, let's say. You don't have to have this level of vocabulary, so you don't necessarily need to know the word revel in order to get a Band 9. Okay, I'm just showing you that so that you can add it to your repertoire, your skill set, and vocabulary. All right. Part 1 will get more and more challenging, and then you'll see some more complex questions using higher level grammar, like, has the way you spend your time off work or school changed compared to 5 years ago, and how? What's the best holiday you have had so far? Okay, so present perfect, past perfect. Make sure to answer those using the same grammar. Now you can answer those and send your answers to me as an MP3 recording, and I will gladly give you a score estimate for your speaking, and maybe even a little coupon or a discount for our premium package on our websites. Again, my email for those of you who have questions and would like to send me your MP3 recordings for a score estimate, do that at adrian@aehelp.com. Lots of great dialogue today in the chat, everyone. Again, make sure to study your phonetics. And of course, be sure to go to aehelp.com for academic IELTS and gieltshelp.com for general. And remember, on both of those websites, you can connect video and audio chat with other students for 100% free, anytime, anywhere, unlimited. Okay? You're very welcome, Rajveer. Always a pleasure to have you in the class. Abhishek, see you tomorrow. Of course, members, your class starts at 13:30. Everybody's welcome to watch for task 2. Much love back at you, Kyber. Bye for now. I'm Adrian, signing out from sunny, summery Budapest. See you tomorrow.